Hey there team, welcome back to the channel and welcome to my overview of the Outlast Trials. So those not across it, I do reviews and overviews pretty much daily on the channel. Overview being a bit more of a short, punchier video. I keep it under 10 minutes. Where I look at the first 2 hours of a game, being that that's the Steam refund window, and if Steam thinks you can make your mind up about a game in that time, I kind of agree. I very much doubt that if you don't like something after 2 hours, putting another 20 hours in is going to really change your mind. So Outlast Trials, it's just gone 1.0, kind of snuck up on me. I missed it at early access. It is a sort of specific kind of game, but from what I gather, and to throw in my opinion, it is the best of this specific kind of game. If you are allergic to Outlast type horror games, which I am a little bit, then I don't know if this is going to sell you and change your mind. Now, just to clarify, survival horror, one of my favorite game genres ever, things like Resident Evil are a great example, where there are survival mechanics, but you kind of have agency, even though it is about making every bullet count. You can still kind of kill everything and navigate your way through, and I would even argue that some of the best ones aren't that scary. They're kind of soft horror. Resident Evil is the great example. Yes, it's got horror themes, but its objective is less about trying to scare you and more about setting it within a horror setting. Something like Outlast is not what I would call a survival horror. I would just call it a straight horror game. A lot of the player agency and tools are taken away from them. It is very much about depowering you. And you can see through derivative clones of it, it often is kind of a walking/running simulator where you run around from cabinet to cabinet. You try not to upset the bad guys, but it is a hide and seek simulator. One game that really straddles the line between the two is Alien Isolation, where you still have a lot of survival tools, but it does actually lean towards the more pure horror Outlast type game. Like Amnesia, original Amnesia, that comes to mind as well. And personally, I don't love those sort of games. And I know there are some that after that distinction, maybe they agree with me. Can't say I love the sort of cat and mouse loop. However, this is the best I've ever seen it. Absolutely. It also threads this weird needle where between playing games solo and playing games cooperative multiplayer, I would argue the better the group that you have, the more fun you're having, you're all talking shit in Discord, the less attention you can often pay to theme and atmosphere of a game. And in a way, a game can get away with it. And that's why you have some of these blowout indie hits where they are doing the 4 dudes running around, getting chased by a monster, you got to collect 10 MacGuffins to start a ritual or something like that. And a lot of people have a good fun time, but if you really held that game up to any sort of scrutiny, they're often kind of shit because in a way they outsource a lot of the heavy lifting and the fun creation onto the player. So I'll start by saying this. I played this on my own. I've got a mate that's got it. I've got, I think, a couple. I could probably get a 4-stack together, but I wanted to see how it goes on its own. The opening hour intro tutorial, whatever you want to call it, is brilliant. It's really compelling. It's interesting. It sets the game up to be like Saw, the video game. I don't know how much footage I can put up because it is brutal. It is not very YouTube friendly, but immediately we were looking at the forest the other day, and I get that it's going for slow burn, but it doesn't grab you. It does throw you into the unknown and say, figure it out for yourself, which I can applaud. But this grabs you immediately. You're very curious. You're someone that's being taken advantage of. Think sort of homeless military vet being scooped up by this experimental division. And the tutorial mixes expertly, teaching you the mechanics, but also weaving in the idea of sort of you're deconstructing your player's past, destroy all your private records and public records and have a bit of a clean slate. And then you're thrown into a sort of lobby where you can see other players as well. They're not actually in your 4-person party, but you can see they've got you've got bedrooms. That seems to be the customization loop, which I think is brilliant. It's so clever. Sea of Thieves, one of the most popular multiplayer games, and you spend all your currency on cosmetics. It's all about flexing to the boys, and this has your own little private cell, and I had a look in some other people's, and it's really wild what they've done with it. And I think it's a great hook. It's a great way to start the game. It really, really starts off strong. I played some speed chess against some random people, and we got a bit of a crowd going. Very cool. The greater gameplay loop, though, like I said, this is a masterclass in what it's doing, but it's not going to change your mind if this is something that you already kind of dislike. I had to do this kill the snitch mission, running around a police station, sort of pushing this dude, and it is very gamey, right? It is very much designed for 4 players. I tried matchmaking, but I guess given because I was such a newbie character and I was limited to 1 mission, I couldn't really pick up a group. But still, I'm not saying the game's bad because I was on my own. I understand what they would want to go for in the party system, and I may well play some more of it actually. So my criticisms of it aren't necessarily from the perspective of single player. However, it does a single player intro expertly. It's more that like I have to push this thing through 3 checkpoints, this dude locked into a chair, there are roaming monsters looking around for you, and they say some of the best one-liners. So the loop is solid, you know, hide in the dark, use your night vision, hide in cupboards, try not to step on glass, that sort of thing. And then I was going around like digging into dead bodies, trying to find the right matching body with the key that would unlock a door. And you can see that this game wants to be played out where, you know, you're sort of distracting dudes over here while your mate goes over there and that sort of thing. And again, I cannot help but emphasize that just like the world building, the atmosphere, the budget, everything, this is brilliant. It really, really is, but it is still this cat and mouse hide in cupboards loop that, to put it actually straight, if you don't like those genres, but you're willing to be brought back from the edge, you're willing to be sold and convinced, this is the game. Better than anything. I've played parts of the last Outlasts, you know, the amnesias, that sort of stuff, and I'm someone that is standoffish on this cat and mouse loop. I don't know what else to call it, but I was really impressed with this, and I am looking forward to potentially getting a group together and getting a bit of a run going with the boys, because it is absolutely the high watermark for this genre. So that's the main takeaway. This game's actually quite brilliant, but it isn't a genre that I know personally I'm very funny about, and I know I'm not alone. However, if you're someone that is kind of for lack of a better term, if you're a bit of a sucker for these, you know, $20 asset flip, bloody horror sermon, you know, get rid of the demon with bloody 10 sheepskins or something, like if you consume that sort of crap, you are going to be eating well with this game, because it will kind of hurt you in that it will make you realize that all the other ones that you've been sort of hoovering up with the boys are kind of shit. Anyway, so there's my overview of the Outlast Trials. Let me know what you reckon. Tim, we might just leave it there for the time being, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.